Okay. So, what's going on today? This is what we're going to look into. We're going to start by looking at the past and reflect on our own educational experiences as students and the patterns of teacher-centered practice. Where did that come from? How did we get where we are? Then we're going to look at the present and look at the current struggles from teachers and current findings that support student-centered learning. And then we're going to look into your future as administrators. And I'm going to be inviting you guys to join the student-centered revolution tonight and hopefully for the rest of your life. So buckle up. Here we go. Let's dive into the past because it's story time. In case you didn't know, that's me. When I was like in third grade, and I'll just tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Hans who lived in the mountains of California and went to school there. And every day he would go to school and experience super boring content and tiresome tasks and lecture-style teaching and a lot of irrelevant learning. And he just wasn't engaged. And learning skills that he felt like he didn't feel like he would use in his future. And feeling out of place and things like that. And rewards were offered for good behavior, but they just weren't meaningful to him. And so he felt a lack of control, and he found that worksheets were very boring. Most of them, like 95%. But one day, after a lot of frustration, Hans decided that he was done with homework. And in third grade, he just started stuffing that homework into his desk every day. I'm done with it. Just kind of giving up and avoiding it at all costs. Because of that, I struggled the rest of third grade, struggled the rest of junior high. I struggled into high school, and even when I started community college because of the choices I made. And ironically, in community college, I started teaching guitar lessons to make a little extra money, and I discovered that I really enjoy preparing like a plan that I want my students to follow to progress and get better, and that's when I discovered my love of learning. And so I switched my major from psychology to education, and I focused on teaching and learning. Until finally, I became a teacher, vowing never to let any of my students be bored in my class ever again. And ever since then, all of Hans' teaching was engaging and future-focused, and I built positive communities and empowered all my students, and it was transformational, and the students loved learning every day. The end. Is that the true story? Is that the true ending? No, that didn't happen. No, in fact, in real life, I found myself repeating the same boring content and strategies that I had been modeled growing up. And I brought that into my students. And my students were not thriving. It's almost like my educational courses were teaching me to follow the same patterns. And I saw this pattern when I went to Cal State and other places to get my extended education. And ultimately, it was sucking the life out of teaching. So that's a little bit about my story, and that's what I looked like as a teacher in some of my first years teaching third grade over in Shafter. And I wanted to see if you could share your experience on what your experience was like as a student. So take some time to reflect, open that Slido, and share what your experience was like. Maybe it was the same. Maybe it was something totally different. But I would really like to hear your story as a student. And I am going to activate that on the Slido because you have to activate these one at a time.
Right.
Pro tip. It's like, where is it? Is it there now? Yeah. Okay. Whew. Thank you guys for being my guinea pigs. Is it the music?
No,
Okay.
no. It's like I'm reliving a little moment over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to read yours out loud. Thank you for sharing, Eddie. Good observation, Ashley. That's okay.
Okay, I'm anonymous.
It's interesting.
That's gonna be my Starbucks name. Just call me anonymous.
It's interesting that history teachers have the potential to rock worlds.
Right.
I had a similar experience in high school.
Okay, so you get me.
Yeah.
And he didn't even speak Spanish because I was like a second language learner. Oh.
Well, while people are finishing up their thoughts, thank you for sharing your experience. I saw a lot of, we had some positivity happening. I think education definitely favors high achievers, for sure. And so if that was your experience, I think that's great. I think school is best suited for those high achievers. For other people, like me, it was a totally different experience, and all these experiences are valid. And I think before we start talking about student-centered learning, we have to focus on what was our student learning focused on. Like what was it centered on? Was it about customizing for the student or the teacher? So I want to jump back to the beginning and talk about, where did this all start? Well, way back in the day in ancient civilizations, you had these outdoor philosophers talking, but typically you had a speaker. It became highly structured. Many times it focused on rote memorization, and it's an oral transmission from the teacher to the student. The student is the empty vessel. The teacher grants them that knowledge. Even into the Middle Ages, when you have religion and education coming together, the primary lecto or lecture was the key in delivering content. And then into the Renaissance, imparting knowledge through recitations. And of course, at the turn of the century in the Industrial Revolution, you have, we see the need for more structure, preparing students to become factory workers or working in an office building, doing clerical work or whatever the demand was. So you have a factory model where you have rows and columns of students. They have numbers. I don't want to compare it to prison because just don't go there. Just But there are patterns. Uniformity. That's what it's all about. Let's get everyone on the same page. Everyone in the same box. Discipline. Teacher is the central authority. And so, looking throughout history, we see this pattern of highly structured memorization. It's all about speaking one to the masses, teacher to student, lecture, recitations. All of these things, Who is responsible for these things?
Who's responsible?
Mm-hmm. Who's in charge of all these things?
Teacher-centered education.
The teacher.
Yeah.
The teacher's responsible for all these things. They're the authority. They're the one designing the curriculum. They're the ones talking in class. They're the one applying the discipline. They're the authority. It's all around the teacher. Now, what does the present look like with today's teachers, your teachers that you'll be supporting? What does their life look like? Oh, maybe not. You are all educators, so you know firsthand, so you're going to have a lot of empathy for your teachers and know how stressful this job is. They're given this amount of work to do with this amount of time, get it done. Sometimes they feel isolated, many times exhausted. They feel overworked. I mean, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. This is nothing new to you guys. Why is this? Many times, it's because they're carrying the weight of this outdated system and all of these responsibilities on their shoulders in a method that really doesn't serve their students. But what if it could change? What has changed since those early days? We have internet, we have AI, we have research, best practices. We know more about deep learning. So we have a huge advantage to the people back then who didn't know any better. Now we know better, so we can do better. And what if it could change? I want you to imagine maybe your dream classroom as a teacher, or maybe your teacher's dream classroom. When you walk around your campus in the future, imagine seeing a classroom where students are engaged and they're applying critical thinking skills. They're independent. They don't need to rely on a person because they've taken their own responsibility. They're motivated because instead of external motivation, they're intrinsically motivated. Imagine they're on a personalized learning pathway where they get to go at their own pace and make decisions about their learning. They're collaborating. They're solving real-world problems. They're excellent at digital literacy. They're not in the dark about it. They know how to protect, respect, and be safe online. They have increased responsibility because they can handle it. And they're into lifelong learning. That's the dream, right? How do we get there? The student-centered revolution. That's how. It's all about switching the focus to the students. And this is what the research says. And this isn't like new research. This is old. Teachers are no longer the main performers. They're the guides on the side. They're facilitating the learning instead of being the sage on the stage. Here's something a little more recent. We see that education systems need to transform to accommodate 21st century learning. We're a quarter through the 21st century. Can you believe that? I've got to think of something else to call it because we're in it. We're in it deep. So it was like, 21st century, guys. It's been 25 years. We're in it. But we need to start moving away from the traditional one-size-fits-all approach to more personalized, student-centered approach. 2016. I'm sure there's more research. And as you're thinking about what does student-centered look like in the classrooms that you observe and with the teachers you support, well, there's going to be elements of personalized learning where you're customizing content for the student, you're giving them choices on how they learn. There's going to be competency-based learning where there's a progression based on mastery rather than time spent in class. We're working in these boxes in education, these time blocks. It's a very rigid system. And that's just kind of how it is right now, but is that the best for students? Anytime, anywhere learning So learning that goes beyond the traditional day, and not necessarily homework, but I don't know, ways to go beyond. And figuring out ways to get students to own their learning instead of the teacher owning the learning. Because whoever does the work does the learning, right? Whoever's working hard in the class is doing the learning, and the teachers are super smart because they do a lot of work. But what if we could flip that? I'm going to skip that. No, actually, I'm curious. When I was a student, I don't remember my principal or the impact they had on me. But with teachers, when you've worked under a principal, did they support teacher or student-centered learning, or maybe it wasn't so black and white? Maybe they just had a different focus. And how did that impact your teaching? I'm going to activate this and give you guys 2 minutes, just because I'm curious to see what you say, and it will also inform me if this is like, I got to get rid of this next time. So take some time. How did it impact your learning?
If I click away, how do I get it back?
If you click away, you can just scan this again. Not a big deal.
Sounds simple enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I know, right full circle.
So who is it, if you don't mind sharing?
Havens,
Oh, okay. Where was he the principal at?
at elementary, middle school
Okay.
in Delano.
Oh, cool. Delano. Who do I know out in Delano? Monica Daniels? She Delano? No, that's McFarland. I know a few people in Delano.
5 more minutes.
Yeah, in the same area, different city. Okay, well that's great. It's good that you've been able to experience both to see the difference.
Right, because when they're student-centered, like they support you, because it requires money. Like you have to buy
Yes.
furniture and tools.
Right. It's all about designing the environment, the curriculum, the expectations, the discipline policies.
That it's not punitive.
Right,
Restorative.
Yeah.
right. We have a few more responses. And can you guys see your colleagues' responses? Good. Okay. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just curious to see what your experience was. Oh, wow. That's great, Ashley. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that we're seeing more student-centered leaders in our communities. Thank you guys for sharing. So let's talk about your future. You guys are getting ready to become admin. By the way, just a quick question. How long have we been educators? How long have you guys been teachers? If you don't mind sharing. 7? Cool. What about you, Alexandra?
7 years.
Oh, all right. Okay. 20-something.
Yeah.
Awesome. 11.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, sorry. How many years have you been teaching?
Oh yeah, no, I was right, 7 years.
7.
I was like, wait,
7.
Since I've been in school or 7 years? I'm like half asleep right now, so
Sorry. I know. It's got to be tough. Thank you guys for sharing that. Yeah, I've been in education for over 20 years, and so let's talk about your new future as leaders of your future sites and leading the revolution. And the challenge is, how can we shift a community's mindset to go from traditional instruction to more student-centered systems and improve learner outcomes? That's like the essential question. Like if I was applying to be a Google innovator again, this would be my how might we question. Like, how do we do that?
I have a response.
Yes, please.
You do a pilot. What is it called? The bubble?
Floated trial balloon.
Oh, trial balloon.
Let them play. Like,
Yes.
Let them dip their toe in.
Let them play. Can you learn
need a
from?
lab. And then the teachers sign up, like the library, like to go to the library.
Uh-huh.
And then they go and teach out of it.
Yeah.
They have to use the tools.
Oh,
The sandbox. Yeah.
love it. Love it.
What they do with NGSS, right, with the different labs,
Right?
you're gonna experience.
Like Paxton Patterson. Yeah.
Cool. Love that idea. Does anyone else have another idea? I mean, this is a huge question. It's really hard to answer. But any other thoughts that come to your mind when I ask this?
I would feel like making it feel like no risk. There's no, if you're trying something new, no fear. Like you're not gonna.
There's no consequence.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about, being evaluated on this.
Try something new
replace it,
and learn.
And maybe do it post-state testing.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Totally. This is like, maybe this
You're
is,
resistance. You
yeah.
are.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their pacing guide and their, and I think giving up the control is what. That's the main thing. That's the main thing.
That's a huge part.
Yeah.
Because, teaching, a big part about it is about control. Like, you gotta have control of your time, you gotta have control of your kids, you gotta have control of the curriculum and the pacing, and so much control. And that's one of the reasons why teachers are so stressed, is because,
That's why they're afraid of AI.
yeah,
And classroom.
Because they think they'll be replaced.
as a heavy AI user, like, hi, my name is Hans Tolman, I am a heavy AI user. I haven't used it since this afternoon.
I haven't used it since.
I was just using it. I'm using it to translate this conversation. No, I'm not really, but I totally could. I could put Auto AI on and have it summarize this whole session and send it out via email. Anyway, so I'm a user, so yes, fan of the AI, but there will be resistance.
Yes. And we've talked a lot about external versus internal accountability, right? And you have to build capacity because you have some veterans, 35 years, right? Eddie's been trying to teach me all quad. But you have, do you know what I mean? You have people that have had great success and been doing it
Right.
the traditional way, right?
Yes.
And, you
And
have
it
to
works.
show them, right, that you got to give up some of that control. Give the accountability to the kids.
Yes.
Have them be more accountable for their learning and their behavior and everything. It'll make your job easier, but it's scarier.
It is. Yeah. There's a big mindset shift that has to happen in education, and it's not easy. And so looking at all the patterns from the past, how can you make gentle shifts to student-centered strategies? Like instead of memorizing, what if you just focus on like 6 elements of student engagement? Or instead of the factory model for the past, what about a future-ready model to prepare them for their future, where you're teaching them skills that won't be replaced by AI? Because you still have to have a human, as of now, you still have to have a human that makes the AI work amazingly, the human element. Don't take the human away from the table. Instead of uniformity, how can we create dream classrooms where you have positive communities that are supportive, that aren't afraid of failure, where failure is like, hey, this is how we learn? Instead of discipline, what about fostering student accountability? Instead of authoritarianism, why not take some of that control and give it to the students and empower them to be classroom heroes, or give them classroom jobs so they own the class? Instead of recitations, transformational tasks. Instead of relying on word to the masses, what about using technology to accelerate learning? That's its function. We can't have a technology as the driver. It's going to blast us off to the moon somewhere else. Like, where are you going, technology? All over the place. It's not the driver. It's the gas pedal. It can increase the tempo and empower your students. And instead of lecture and standard curriculum, what about innovation with EduProtocols? Changed my life. EduProtocols, just saying. So, I want you guys to join the student-centered revolution. And you guys could be the leaders of that revolution. And this is what we're shooting for. This is the goal. This is the dream. Can we do it?
Yes.
Yeah, we can. We really can. And it really takes leaders like yourself. I feel, if you've been in education for 7 years, 20 plus, 11, 35, you know that success either rises or falls with the leadership. And that's going to be you guys, which is a huge, stress, but also a huge privilege and honor and responsibility that you guys are going to be able to impact communities. So, how spicy are you willing to make the student-centered revolution at your school? We're going to spice it up. Now, some of you may be thinking, Hans, you're kind of overwhelming me right now. It's a Wednesday night and I'm, kind of burnt out. So maybe for you, just keep it mild. Just visit 1 to 2 classes and try to spot those learner-centered moments and just leave a post-it. Hey, that was that was student-centered. Great job. True story, when I was working 5th grade at Highgate, my friend Steve Johnson, who I went to Point Loma with to get our masters, and Scott Myers and other people's classes, but he was my principal, like my friend and my principal, but seriously, no bias, he was like the best boss ever. But it wasn't just because he was my friend, he was that way to everyone. But anyways, he would stop by and observe, he'd drop these little post-its, always positive, every time. Like, I don't even know what I did wrong. I know I did something wrong, but he was just leaving positive post-its. And you know what I did? I opened my cupboard, and I started putting those on my cupboard wall. And each time I opened that cupboard, I saw those post-its, and I thought, man, what a great leader. Anyways, back to our spice level. What if you want to go medium? We're like, okay, I can handle this, Hans. Maybe you try one strategy with your teacher in a classroom, and you debrief the results. Now that's a little spicy, okay? You may not be up for that. If that's too spicy, just stay here with the mild. This week, actually tomorrow, I'm going out to Buttonwillow. I'm working with Heidi Witcher out there, Heidi Witcher, and I'm going to be taking over some 6th through 8th grade classrooms, their elective times, at the end of the day after testing. So, you know,
Smart.
they're going to be, yeah, right? Yes.
Because they won't want to do any
No.
paper pen. They want to.
They want to kind of like, let's take a break. And the
Yeah.
teacher needs to take a break. So
Yeah.
it's like a triple win.
That's awesome.
But I'm going to be teaching the kids about digital citizenship, but also modeling edu protocols to the teachers. So it's kind of like a double whammy. So anyways, try a strategy with the teacher. Now, if you want to make it super spicy at your school, launch a PD or an initiative focused on student-centered learning. If you want to rock the boat, do that. So that's how you can spice it up if you're into that sort of thing. Of course, maybe it's just for now, let's just get used to the job and start observing. Just be intentional about looking for those moments. Little post-it, quick note. So, I want to land the ship. We've talked about the past, how it used to be in teaching, where it came from, and our own experiences as students. We've talked about the present. Teachers are stressed. They need support, and that's where you guys come in. And you can give them support by encouraging the student-centered revolution in your site with your teachers. And ultimately, that's going to take a load off because it's transferring that responsibility and that work in many cases to the students. Let's get them working and let's make it fun. So, you may be thinking, well, how am I going to do this? Well, when it comes to switching mindsets, you've already taken the first step. You're learning about being an admin. I'm here tonight, telling you about this. And also, this is what I'm doing right now is actually a part of a mini course that I'm launching this summer online. So if that's something that you are interested in, or if you know teachers that are interested in, it's designed for teachers. It's just like a super small, like 4-lesson mini course that I'm kind of doing as like a prototype to see if it's even, see if people even want it. So anyways, I'm doing that, but I'm also doing consulting. And in your future, as a leader, you may need someone to come alongside and help you. Now, it doesn't have to be me, but there's some great consultants and companies out there that can help. I offer professional learning and strategic consulting and ongoing coaching. So that's what I'm doing out in Buttonwillow tomorrow and the rest of May. But either way, just as a little parting gift, I wanted to gift you guys this little resource I made, 5 tech tools that made student-centered learning a breeze. So if you already signed up with me, you're going to be getting an email saying, hey, thanks for coming to my training, and here's a little gift for you. And you can subscribe and get updates on these courses that are coming out and other great things. So, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've been on this like weird different pathway. Like you guys are on your pathway and I'm on it's bizarre. But if you guys don't mind taking 30 seconds, I've made a really short evaluation. And this is where you can help me improve this for future teachers. And maybe you'll invite me back. Maybe I'll get a phone call from you in the future and you'll say, hey, Hans, I need you to talk to my teachers about student-centered learning. I'm trying, but they need it from someone else. So, but anyways, if you wouldn't mind, if there's something that went really weird here, like if one of my experiments with the technology was like that question was like, out of touch or out of place, I want to know how to make it better. So if you have any ideas on how I can improve what you just experienced, I would love to hear it. I read all of the suggestions and I make those changes so that I don't have to put other people through that. So thank you for taking the time to do that. Now there was a Q&A on the Slido, but I think that's more designed for like online learning. So if you have any questions for me before we wrap things up with my part, any questions at all, or if you need time to type, feel free to do that too.
Um,
You had a thought.
I have a question.
Yeah.
that I think they're busy absorbing it, but just from hearing from them, how do they navigate having, because they're starting administrators, right?
Thank you.
How do they navigate starting the conversation with people who are farther along in their administrative careers, or in the hierarchy are the leader of the site or the leader of the district, and might not be, sorry, this is a long question, might not be open, right? Because we talk a lot about, this is all about change leadership, right?
Right.
So there are people that have been in their positions for a while, and they might be fearful,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We're talking about like district level
Districts.
leaders.
Or even principals, because
Yeah.
they currently have, principals that they're working under, or directors that they're working under, right?
It's a difficult thing because I know what you're asking, and I've lived through that as a teacher, as a coach, somewhat of a leader,
Yeah.
and have worked with leaders that maybe didn't have the vision that you have.
Thank you for, you put it so much more eloquently. Can you tell it's been long?
And it's hard to ignite that vision in someone else. But I'll tell you one story. I was working under a new superintendent in a small school district, a little rocky. He was open to ideas, but he didn't really have a vision of what, student-centered learning could be. And I just happened to know this guy, John Carippo, who was involved with Q, and he wrote these books called the Edu Protocols. Edu Protocols, I'm such a fan. So I can't say enough. But I heard he was doing a super symposium for superintendents, and I met with my superintendent. I told him, you have to go to this. I guess we had that relationship where I could suggest that.
Good.
So I guess the answer would be encouraging them to get together with peers that can inspire, or go to groups like SSDA, or these other
Principals Leadership Network.
Principals Leadership, AXA. Encourage them, like, hey, you go and do that. Be with your people, because they need to be with their peers. Because when they're in a role of authority and you're down here and you're speaking up, they're like, okay, I see what you're saying. I'm not trying to be like, put them down or anything, but they're just, you're not their peer. And they need to hear it from peers. And when my superintendent went to that super symposium and they were sitting in a circle, all superintendents, and they were talking about what they're doing in their district and how they're innovating. And
Positive peer pressure.
I mean,
Yeah.
With equals.
but I mean, with equals.
Yeah, that's good
Yes.
advice.
And at one point, I heard back, I think he was crying at one point. So it was really meaningful.
It is.
But just being willing to work with them and encourage them, and hey, check this out, or come with me to this conference. Go to
Q.
Yeah,
Spring Q.
Let 'em
Oh
watch
my
it in
gosh.
action too.
Yes.
That makes a big
But
difference.
I just find that hearing it from their peers, because those leaders, the higher up you go, the more isolated you are. And you know what I'm talking about? The more you get away from the classroom, the less of a cohort that you have. And you can't vent, you can't brainstorm with people that, you know what I mean? I mean, people try, but it just doesn't always go well. Yeah. So, I don't know. That's one approach that I've seen. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. Man, you guys, I applaud you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here. I clap for you guys. Thank you.
You're awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm like,
This was a blast.
I just think it was, okay, I have a really strong faith, so I think it was God that brought you across my path.
Maybe it
I
was.
can say that. But I really, maybe I'll come out with that.
I would love for you to come out.
Love.
I'm out there most afternoons at I start at 2:15, and they have me out there like 4 days a week. I'm loving it. So anyways, I get my kid time.
This is from all of
Oh,
us.
you didn't have to
Taking
do
your
that.
time. We
Thank you.
appreciate it
That's
so much.
nice of you.
And
Thank you.
Yes, I'm gonna come out and watch you in action.
I would love you. I would love
Yeah.
if you did that.
I
You just, I'll send you an email with some times and dates, and you
Okay.
are welcome to come out.
am close with Heidi, so I would love to be
Yay!
able to.
Oh, she'd totally be down with that.
Yeah, she would be cool with that.
Heidi was my first
Don't
principal.
look at my desktop because it's gonna